Alright, this is a video designed to help you create an Excel spreadsheet, make a scatter plot, and find a quadratic model with the calorie activity we did in class. So, a few steps that might help you complete that activity. Here's the worksheet that I gave you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy paste the data values into my Excel spreadsheet. This is available on the homework site. So that you can do that. Now you notice that when I copy paste the data, these become dates. We obviously don't want that. So highlight this data set. If you right click and format the cells, we just want to make it a general number. And we get that. Now of course those are not the numbers we want. To make our scatter plot, we want single numerical values for our x variable. So I'm going to go ahead and make it the midpoint rather than an age range. You notice it's 2 to 3 and 4 to 8. I'll make it 2.5, and I make that 6, 11, yada yada. And I'm not going to do all of them. I'm only going to show you what to do for the female. Notice I made the 51 plus. I made it 60. So we want to make some scatter plots. We're going to end up making 3, one for each of these 3 activity levels. I'm going to start by making one for the first activity level. Highlight the data. I'm holding in the left click. Insert scatter plot, and voila, we have our scatter plot. So pretty easy. Now, of course, a good chart has a good title. So up at the chart tools that open up in Excel 2007, layout, want a chart title, so we'll put an appropriate title that I'll leave up to you. Now when that happens, notice that the title kind of goes into our graph. We'll edit that later, but you notice when if you click on the graph area, the plot area, you can move that down a little bit so it doesn't go into the title. Now this series name, this legend entry, doesn't really mean much to us, series 1. So what we will do is I'm going to right click somewhere in the chart area and click select data, and this pops up. Series 1, let's edit it and let's give it a name that's meaningful, like sedentary. And if you move the window out of the way, you can see that that changed in our graph. So good, now it means something. Now the activity has us making scatter plots for all the activity levels. So in the legend entries, let's add moderately active. Now moderately active has the same x value, so I'm going to click on that arrow there, highlight the data series that represents our x variable, in this case it's age, and the y values will be the caloric intake under moderately active, and poof, it comes up like the activity sheet suggests to do it in different colors so we can compare. And we're also going to add active. The x values are the same, they're the ages, and the y values are the caloric intakes under the active heading, and they are now in our chart. So our chart is looking pretty nice. Incidentally, a good chart also has the horizontal and vertical axis labeled, so I'm going to get out of there. Chart tools, axis titles, primary horizontal axis titles, this represent aged. So triple click age, and for our vertical axis title, caloric intake. And there we go. Now one of the things we're asked to do is to find a quadratic model for each of these. So let's start with active. Right click on a data point. We're going to add a trend line. You are asked to find a quadratic model, so you want a polynomial of order 2. Display equation in chart so we can actually see the model, and poof, there it is. I'm going to put on the side for now. We're going to make this chart look nice in a little bit. Right now I'm just getting what we need. Right click a square to get the moderately active model, add trend line. Don't forget to display the equation in the chart. And the last one is the sedentary. and we have our three models. Now this graph is really, you don't want to submit this as a graph. It's really cluttered. It's got a lot of useless stuff in it as well, which we'll get rid of in a second. So I'm going to, let's see, where's a good place to move these models? You could keep them up there if you'd like. No, because we're going to label them. So let's move them down here, making sure to keep them in order so we remember what model is which. These in the legend, this polyactive, polymoderately active, polysedentary, they're not very useful. So I'm going to double click, delete, double click, delete, double click, delete. You don't want to delete the whole legend because this legend's good. And that makes some room over here for our quadratic models. Now, we should probably label these models, so double click, or a delay double click. I don't know what I'm doing here. Yes, I do. I can say this is active. Moderately active. Okay. So you can put these formulas into a cell if you'd like. Just use an equal sign beforehand if you're plugging in a value. And that is your quick little instruction video on how to do scatter plots and find those quadratic models in Microsoft Excel. Remember, if you do anything wrong, like if you make this 14,500 accidentally, oops, I don't want that, just Control Z out of that and it'll get you back to your original value. You could copy paste these ages below. Control C, Control V. Alright, I hope that's helpful. Good luck to you. Email me if you have any questions.